Hello, you're listening to Got Clutter, Get Organized. I am your host, Janet M. Taylor, and I want to say hello if you're a regular listener. Welcome if you're listening for the very first time. I hope you are having a great start to your week. In this episode, we have guest Lindsay Mullenger of Petite Keep, and she's going to be sharing how we can organize and store our keepsakes. And of course, I will be sharing my product suggestion, app suggestion, and repurpose suggestion for the week, as well as my book suggestion. And of course, my question for this week to you is, how do you store your keepsakes? And just to give you a little bit of background, is the top things that we like to keep are furniture, albums, coins, comic books, action figures, and to my amazement, my godson, who is 25, he started collecting the albums. I had all these old albums. I had Tina Turner, I had Michael Jackson, I had Prince. And so I, have been keeping them and saving them. And I realized, why am I saving these? I'm never going to play these again. So I gave them to him. So he sent me a picture, text of how he displayed them in his room. So that just gave me so much joy. But with the birth of her daughters, Heidi, Bella, and Louisa, came meaningful welcome cards, treasured baptismal mementos, and intricate, beautiful dresses that Lindsay Mullenger simply couldn't pack away in a plastic tub. She searched high and low for a classic keepsake box to share these many reminiscences and came up with empty-handed. This is how Petite Keep was born. Lindsay has 10 plus years working for CPG or P&G, Duracell, Berkshire Hathaway in sales, marketing roles, delivering products to market and growing retail and e-commerce relationship. And she has a BS in marketing and business from the University of Missouri and participated in the Cornell Leadership Program. So I want you to sit back. I want you to listen to Lindsay and how you can really keep those treasured momentums more organized, but also in a decorative box.
Well, listeners, I'm excited because I have Lindsay Mullenger of Petite Keep, and she's going to be sharing how we can really be better at, storing our keepsake, those things that we do not want to give away, get rid of. As an organizer, I always tell people I'm not going to tell you to get rid of stuff, and I have stuff that I want to keep too. So, Lindsay, I am so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
So before we get started on our keepsakes and how we really should keep them, what made you decide to start the business?
Well, honestly, it came out of a personal need. I have 3 little girls, and about the time I was having my second, I was moving the oldest to a new room and was just going through the closet and had a few pieces I really wanted to have a place for. I'm a big believer in everything having its own place. And so I was looking for a box that I could put, a couple mementos aside, and just didn't find something I was looking for. I was looking for something I could personalize, something that aesthetically would be something I'd want to display in their room. And so then Petite Keep was essentially born off of that.
And it is needed because we all hold on to stuff. I even have stuff from when I was born. Okay, I'm letting all the listeners know my business. Yes, when I was born, the powders came in tin cans.
Okay.
So I still have that Johnson & Johnson little tin can of powder that my mother brought home. For some reason, I still can't part with it. So you mentioned, and when I was reading over your website, is that we should get away from the tubs and the boxes. So why, Liz?
Well, at Petite Keep, everything that we're bringing to market is truly based around intentional use and intentional design, so that I'm not actually a big believer in like keeping a lot of things and storing a ton of things, but I do think the reality is we all have very important keepsakes that we want to hold on to. And so for us, and really the reason why the product we have to market came to be was, how do we have something that looks beautiful in a room so that you can set it aside, and that might be a closet, that might be a dresser, that might be a shelf, but it still looks good, so you're excited and proud to have it there versus shoving it away in an attic and you're not going to see it for a decade. And and then that also means you're revisiting these keepsakes and you can see the integrity of them as well.
So, what are some of the things I guess we can really keep? Because I know what you do. I know the normal things are like the baby things, but has it been things that are a little bit unusual that people have said, you know what, I'm going to keep this?
Yeah, that's a great question. The neat thing is Petite Keep was originally, I mean, it came out of my need for looking for something for my children, but the really energizing piece of my work is that I've got the customers coming to me telling me why they need Petite Keep. So we've got people are using them for their weddings, for grandmothers, for childhood boxes if it's an adult that wants to store a few places. So really a variety of needs. And to answer your question around, what keepsakes, I mean, for me, it's what is something, if there's a physical piece that sparks some kind of emotion. Doesn't always have to be joy, right? Like it can be something that there was a really hard, moment. My husband deployed to Afghanistan. And so, we have a letter that like he wrote me. And so there's things that I think if it sparks a strong emotion, that you'd want to recall upon in the future. And that is truly like the centered approach I take in my house.
So, Lindsay, before I end this interview, I want to ask you a question about organizing because that's what this
Yes.
podcast is all about. So, you are a wife and you are a mother and you have three daughters. So, how do you do it with the business, with family, and of course with other things as well? How do you stay organized?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm definitely learning every day. Every day is a new opportunity and always adjusting and being, fluid in what I'm taking in and trying to do. But I think when I think about like how I'm kind of spanning across my different roles in life, the first one is, routine based. So how can I make sure that I'm making deliberate decisions every day that are routine based? So I simplify some of those things that don't necessarily need to be this complex decision making process. So one of those is waking up early, making sure I'm getting ahead of, the day and getting ahead of when my kiddos wake up and having some time to myself to organize my thoughts, have, whether it be a workout, whether it be time to read, whether it be time to review my calendar. Um, Another thing is just being intentional with what I sign up to do. That's obviously, something that while it seems obvious, I think that it's something we have to like make a point to reteach ourselves. And it truly plays into organization because there's only so many hours in the day. So feeling more comfortable with saying no is very important in my calendar. Um, and then also another one that I learned earlier on in my career, which I love, is being very, if there's something that can be handled in 5 minutes that approaches you, taking care of it then. So I say that with in regards to, for an example, an email. If an email comes across my desk and it's something that I can answer in 5 minutes or less, I might as well answer it then versus closing it off, revisiting it, reopening it up. That just takes more time and compounds time. Another piece is if I've got a piece of clothing, for example, I need to run up to our washer and dryer, just taking care of it then. So it's kind of a 5 minutes or less rule is versus having to go back and revisit that chore or that task.
I love it. I love that 5 minute or less rule. And you're right. Sometimes you just take care of it and then you can cross it off your list to do.
Yes.
So, so Lindsay, it has been a joy to talk to you about your product. And
Thank you.
how can listeners get in contact with you?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. We have you can find us on Instagram at Petite Keep. So PETITEKEEP. You can find us on our website, www.petitekeep.com.
And of course, listeners, I will have a direct link to Lindsay's website on the show page. So, Lindsay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your time. It was great speaking with you today.
Like this show and want to make your own? Let me tell you about Anchor. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now you can even add any song from Spotify directly to your episode. The possibilities are endless for what you can create, whether it's music analysis, your own radio show, or something the world's never heard before. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I hope that was an informative conversation I had with Lindsay, and I hope that inspires you to begin to look at your keepsakes and how you can truly store them in something that's more decorative, more beautiful than just regular old plastic containers. So now I want to move on to Taylor's tip time. And of course, just how to really kind of begin to manage, because you may have a lot of keepsakes. So number one, set a goal. Do you need to appraise them so that you can at least know the value of some of these keepsakes? Or do you just need to kind of keep a little journal of them? And also, to pass them down to the children, grandchildren. Number two, create a list of the items. Number three, tag those items that maybe are to be given to a specific person. Maybe right now you've got the keepsakes of something that happened within your family, and then after you've passed away, you want to pass them on either to a daughter or to grandchildren. And then, of course, making sure you create a spreadsheet that you keep online and just try to review it yearly. So again, set a goal. Is this something that you definitely want to keep, but you want to get appraised, or you just definitely want to store in a decorative box? Create a list of the items, tag the items. So that means tagging if you want them to go to a specific person, and you've put it in your will and estate plan. Create a spreadsheet, keep it online, and of course review it regularly. So, are you ready to live an organized life? Well, of course, virtual sessions can help you. Have you been working on getting organized and feel that you need someone to guide you from start to finish by providing you with the details needed to clear the clutter and get organized? So let's talk so I can share how you can get back on track and get organized with my virtual sessions. You go to my contact page and you schedule a 15-minute free session, and that's how we can get started, just having a conversation about your project and what you want to accomplish. Then, of course, maybe you are just overwhelmed, feeling like you can't manage all that is happening at work, business, and life. Let me help you. I work with clients so they can get things done without feeling stressed or burnt out, and they can create the life they want. So click the link in the show page that has the strategize and organize so we can talk. And of course, I want to thank you so much for following me on social media, and be sure to check out my Pinterest page, and specifically my boards on repurposing for the garden, for the home, for the office, because you may have a keepsake that may be a little broken or used, but you're still not ready to let it go. See how you can repurpose it in your home and in your life. My app suggestion for this week is HomeZada. And HomeZada is an app that will help you keep track and inventory of all the things you have in your home and your life, from home improvements to maintenance to other things as well. My product suggestion for this week is the Jewel Keeper. It's paperboard suitcases. It comes in a set of 3, and they're really cute because you can just kind of, maybe you want to store some photos, maybe you even want to just put some office supplies in there and make your office look more decorative. Or maybe, sometimes you have all of those birthday cards and stationery, and those are some ways you can store them and still have a decorative impact on your space. Of course, my repurpose suggestion for this week is to check out my Pinterest pages, as I shared with you earlier. And my book suggestion for this week is A Lifetime of Memories, which comes in large print, and it's a guided journal for your grandma, grandpa, or parent to record their memories and life experience. And of course, it's a great gift as well. And of course, my quote for this week is, memories are timeless treasures of the heart. Well, I want to thank you for listening, and be sure to share this podcast with your family or friends, as well as on your social media network. And be sure to visit me at my website at janetmtaylor.com. Until next time, have a clutter-free day, but most of all, have an organized week. Organization is a quintessential element of a clutter-free life. Join me as we take this journey together. Along the way, we will find the necessary answers to your organizing dilemma. My name is Janet M. Taylor, and you are tuned in to Got Clutter, Get Organized.